Good morning, friends. Love and light to everybody. Try to get this nonsense out of here. What is this? Trying to get in the... Yeah, there you go. Love and light to everybody. Let us get in the moment. Join me in the moment. Coming at you today from Wilson, North Carolina. Most people are not in the moment. Hopefully the wind, there's a little bit of breeze. I'm hoping that's not messing anything up. But most people are not in the moment. And how do you know? How can you know if you're in the moment? Well, most people are in the past or in the future, which is all mental. And let's do, I like to do examples, make things clearer. Let's say right now, like before you started watching this or whatever, you were going about your business, doing whatever you do. Or just anybody, maybe not you, because if you're listening to this, you're probably in the moment. If you're tuning into these kind of videos, then you're probably in the moment. You probably are either awake or awakening. But for most people, they're going about their business. They're in the past or they're in the future. And let's say an earthquake suddenly happens, right? And all of a sudden they're going to find out that they're in the moment all of a sudden. Because guess what? The news that they were just tuned into, with the talking heads, I wish I could imitate that Charlie Brown thing. That person on Charlie Brown that was basically in the background. Right? That is, whether it's the news, whether it's people usually talking or whatever, that's basically the equivalent of what's happening. Right? And they're going on about Trump this and Trump that, and this person did this and that person did that, and are they going to testify? Who's blah, 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 blah. They're not in the moment. But as soon as that earthquake struck, all of a sudden you didn't give a damn about Trump. All of a sudden you didn't give a damn about the polarity that they're trying to pull you to with whichever media, right or left, that you're tuned into. See, their job is one thing, basically. Keep you polarized. Keep you feeling like you've got an enemy. Keep you feeling like you're right, you got it right. See, somehow you were a genius and you picked the right side. Out of left and right, out of two choices, you're a genius because you picked one of them. And all of a sudden when the earthquake struck, you didn't give a damn about none of that. You weren't sitting there thinking about what happened to you 5 years ago with so-and-so did such and such, and you such and such, and then just, none of that's the present moment. None of it. And you truly would know that if you found yourself suddenly in an earthquake. You would be in the present moment. You would be in the right now. Okay, right now. Where am I right now? And see, I don't know how long you or whoever, they wouldn't be in the present that long, because immediately time would begin marching on, and then they would live in the past, because they would be continually hearkening back to the earthquake. And so that moment wouldn't last very long. But can you imagine if you got yourself trained, retrained, to where you could keep your consciousness in the moment at every moment? You could be in the now. And anytime you started to drift away into some perceived future, or drift back to some perceived past, and you could catch yourself and say, no, I'm going to stay in the moment, because right here in this moment is where my power is. You got no power. Let's say the earthquake happened a week ago. You got no power whatsoever about a week ago. You only have power right now. So it's extremely powerful. Another truth hidden in plain sight. Right? Because the present moment is not hidden. But most people are not in it and don't see it and are not participating in it. So it's hidden to them. But it's hidden where? Hidden right in plain sight. Hidden right here in front of you right now. You either see it or you don't. You either sense it or you don't. You either intuit it or you don't. It either resonates or it doesn't. Your frequency is either high or it's low. You are either expanding or you are stagnated. That's the way this works. Man, I really want to talk about, I gotta be careful, because see, my intent is never to offend anybody. My intent is never to judge anybody. My intent is always to help everybody. And see, I've only been able to help anybody because I first helped myself. See, when I was all messed up, let's talk about depression, because a lot of people, I think it's on the increase. Again, if you're not able to raise your resonance and your vibratory rate to at least match Earth's frequency, which is got upgraded in 2012, then you're going to find yourself having energetic issues, and you're not going to identify them as energetic issues. You're going to identify them as, you're going to look at the symptoms, because you're not going to know why the hell you're depressed. You're not even going to know why you're depressed. Well, you might come up with, things that you would, you try to figure it out. So you say, well, man, maybe I'm depressed because of this or that or whatever. But you may not identify it with your vibratory rate. You may not realize that it has to do with frequency. And it could have to do with those other things too. But see, if you could get to the source of it, then all the secondary symptoms and all that crap wouldn't matter, because if you get it resolved at the source, then it's resolved. Then you're done. Then it's over with. Right? So I think a lot of people are taking pharmaceuticals and whatnot to try to deal with the depression. Okay, well, all you're doing is masking it. And I'm not going to sit here and say 100% of the time you should under no circumstances take any kind of pharmaceuticals ever. I'm not dogmatic about it. But I am dogmatic about most of the time that's not what you need. I am dogmatic about it's a synthetic chemical concoction made in a laboratory, and it didn't come from Mother Earth. And so it's just common sense that the best thing that's going to help you is going to come from Mother Earth. It's going to resonate with your body. It's going to the electrons are going to spin in harmony with your electrons rotation right now as it stands. See, these pharmaceuticals, they're positively charged, so they're already at an energetic level. They're not in harmony with your body. So they're already out of whack. And to me, that just is chaos. It's just another form of chaos. Right? So depression. Lots of people struggling with depression. I myself struggled for many years with deep depression. I mean, I guarantee you, they would have said, this one right here is bipolar. This one right here needs a heavy dose of Prozac. This one right here needs regular therapy. All of which I never did. I never had no therapy, never took no drugs, meaning pharmaceuticals, for depression. And mainly I just struggled with it, and I was a solitary back then. What I would have said was a victim. I'm a victim. I've got this terrible depression, and I can't do nothing about it. And so had I given up, I guess I would have maybe went to pharmaceuticals or whatever, but went to doctors and what have you. But I intuitively knew that that's not the answer. And I'm going to tell you the truth here. Depression stems from unresolved. Or I'm going to coin a new word perhaps right here. Disresolve. That's where depression comes from. That is the root of it. And that's another way of saying your higher self, your spirit, knows that I'm not just going to say body because it's more than just your body. I'm going to call it your system. And when I say system, I mean your body, your mind, all the layers of self, your consciousness, the whole ball of wax, right? Your higher self, your spirit knows that it's out of whack. See, your higher self knows that you're a prisoner in a matrix way before your mind does. Way before you are at a point where you could admit it. Because again, you've got to, you feel like you have to protect that ego. See, you think, if you think that ego is you, then you feel like you got to protect yourself from any outside attacks. And see, what you have to understand is people like me that are speaking this message, we're not attacking you. We're not telling you you're bad or you're evil or you're headed to hell or anything like that. We're simply telling you you don't know your full self. you don't realize that you have many other layers, and that you've sold yourself short by thinking that you're just a body and a mind and an ego, basically. And you've not only sold yourself short, you've contained yourself in a self-made prison. And see, it's hard to wrap your mind around that for a while, until you really get into meditation, until you really start doing the things that would bring this clarity to you, to see it. Because if you don't ever see it, you'll never do anything about it. You have to be able to see it, understand it, feel it. And when you do, you'll break that shell that you've been living in wide open, and the real you will come forward, and self-realization will dawn, and you will realize that things like depression are ludicrous, because as your complete self, you lack nothing. You are fully abundant. And so if you're fully abundant and you lack nothing, what in the hell would you be depressed about? You see. So here's another way of saying this. Only the lower self could ever be depressed. So if you're depressed all the time, you're existing as your lower self. And so you may not know how to exist as your higher self, or begin to integrate your higher self and make the transformation from the wrinkly, weird-looking chrysalis to the beautiful butterfly that just glides around and visits flowers and has a damn good time, and has no worries, and has no lack, and is not tripping about nothing. And so this is a transformation. It doesn't just instantly happen. Like, even if something major happens, like your heart chakra activates, which mine did a few years ago, and I had a major shift in consciousness at that time. But that wasn't it. That wasn't the end of it. Like, okay, this happened and now that's it. I got it. I get it. You know what I mean? That's just one more thing. And there's many, many things that are like that. And wait till your crown chakra activates. Wait until your pineal gland is decalcified. Because if you drink city water, or you have been, or even bottled water, because they put it in there too. These people are intentionally trying to keep you at a low resonance so that you don't see any of this, so that you don't figure any of this out, so that you continue to just be what they've created you to be, which is what? A consumer. Basically, they're able to leech you of your life force currency. And they do that first by getting you to exchange your life force currency for fiat currency, fake ass synthetic energy that works in the matrix, which is a fake synthetic matrix that's mimicking Mother Earth's matrix of reality, of what's real, what's tangible. I hope you can see this. I hope you can see at least some of this, because I'm telling you, man, if you can get on a higher frequency, even for a minute, that is enough to waken something in you that causes you to realize. And see, here I'm at a loss for words. I'm starting to go into the energetic resonance that basically words don't cut it. And I guess if you were standing here, maybe I could touch you and try to transfer the frequency. And then you could take hold of it and take it with you. And just follow intuition after that. And, and do practical things that would help to activate all of the parts of yourself that have been deactivated. And again, they've been deactivated through education, diet, water, dead food, ideologies, science, religion. All this crap has played together, and it's an intentional construct. See, I think that's hard for people to get for a while, that they really did orchestrate this entire reality in the lower world. It's all orchestrated. They have designed the entire thing. We could say, to make sure that you don't remember who you are. That's it, I'm done. Drop the mic and walk off. I'm just kidding, but that's it. That's it, right there. As long as you don't remember who you are, where you come from, and when I say where you come from, I don't mean in this earthly life where you've been alive for a few years now and whatever. I mean, you've basically been here for a second in this life. I'm talking about the sum total of all your lives. You've been playing this lower world game for thousands of years. Some of you maybe hundreds, but I'm guaranteeing you 99% of you thousands. And it's only the 1% or whatever, the 1 or 5% are people that have come back here. See, some people already went through this entire cycle, ascended, left for the higher worlds or the upper worlds, the chakras above the heart, and they're now experiencing in that world. But they have come back here to this lower world. What could you say about it? Out of love. I mean, why the hell else would anybody come back to the lower world once they had already gone through it and ascended out of it? Mastered it, passed the test, however you want to say it. All right? Why the hell would you ever come back to this place? If not love, if not a service to your fellow humanity. Well, you're going to be talking to people that are going to laugh and giggle and call you crazy. Okay, that's fine. Well, I mean, a lot of these people are just going to, you're not going to be able to advance in their matrix because you're not conforming. That's all right. Well, I mean, you might end up poor and just barely scraping by, barely able to exist and live. That's all right. Well, goddamn, can't we dissuade you? Is there no way to dissuade you? The ones that decided to come and do this? Can you not be dissuaded? In other words, do you have no fear? And an ascended person has no fear. Why is that? Because they realize, they know, they remember that everything comes from within. So what's the worst thing this synthetic fake matrix could do to somebody? Kill their sleeve? Big freaking damn deal. Big deal. Most of the damn people here don't even want to be here anyway, even if they haven't ascended. Well, I mean, the ones that ascended do want to be here, obviously, because we're here, but I'm saying that most people don't even want to be here. And hence the depression, hence back to all the issues and problems that arise in this reality when you have no idea what's really going on. You have no idea how you've really been not just enslaved, but incorporated into the machine to such a level that you literally just spin around as that gear, not even realizing that you can't even move in that machine because you're a gear, and if you move, the whole thing messes up. You'd break the whole. You don't want to be responsible for breaking the whole damn thing, right? Everybody would be pissed off at you if you did that. So you got to just be that cog. You've got to mind that clock, that timepiece, which again is reinforcing an illusion. Because if you're eternal and you realize that and you know that, then you realize, well, then you're not on some linear timeline. Truly. See, if you're just on a linear timeline, then your linear timeline in your mind started when you were birthed, when your mother gave birth to you. And see, if you think that's where you began, if you think that's where you started, oh my God, then you're so far off course. So it all comes down to misidentifying your own self, who you are, who the I is. And it takes meditation and deep contemplation when you're not meditating. In other words, it takes practice to get in touch with that aspect of you and realize and come to the realization that that is really truly who you are. And the simplest way to put that so that you have something you could go and meditate about would be, who is it that observes your own thoughts? Who is it that thinks about and can think about what it is you're thinking about? So there's no way you're just a mind, because if you were just a mind, you couldn't think about what you're thinking about, or you couldn't, let's say, you couldn't correct something that you were thinking, because who the hell is correcting what you're thinking? Like, who's the outside observer? And we've been duped into thinking that that outside observer is this God character, this entity that is separate from you, and you're trying with all your might to reestablish that connection with God. And in a way it's true, but it's really not, because it's been so twisted. It's really just your own higher self. Or you could say it is your spirit that you are estranged from. Not God, not some entity that's like all powerful and standing there with lightning bolts in his hand. The Creator has never represented in that fashion. If the Creator were to have ever interacted with humanity in that fashion, it would blow this whole thing apart, because then where is free will if that were to happen? Like if some entity claiming to be God came down and gave everybody a book and said, here, it's all in this book, then that's directly manipulating, especially if he said, well, these here are my chosen people, and I'm going to give them the truth, and they're going to disseminate it to everybody else. Right off the bat, he's chosen people are going to be like, hey, man, and then everything would unfold just like it's unfolded. It would all happen in the ridiculously retarded way that it has happened. So obviously that's not true. Obviously we were duped. God, and not even God, because God is a man-made word. Source. I guess you could say source is a man-made word too, but at least it doesn't have the connotations that go with God. Source, the creator, source, has never interacted with humans in a way that violates universal free will, has never manipulated, has never distorted, has never overridden, right? The reality of it is you are the representative of Source. You have everything Source has. You have the power that Source has. Your very life force, currency, is emanating from Source. If that connection were broke, like they told you, oh, your sin broke that connection. No, it's a lie. It's bullshit. If that connection were broken, you would drop dead like a meat puppet. So that's never happened. Everybody here is being powered by Source. They're just distorted as hell about it. And have been told all these wrong things and have been taught to seek all answers out there in this damn synthetic fake ass matrix, and nobody's getting anywhere with it. That's why everybody's on freaking Prozac. Is it starting to make sense? Am I starting to make sense? Damn, 30 minutes has already gone by. Wow. I feel like it's been 5 minutes. I'm going to leave it at that for now, for this one. I'll tell you what, unconsciousness has no place to hide. Third density has nowhere to hide. All that old vibratory resonance is no longer going to work. That's why people are tuning out of all the bullshit from the Matrix. That's why people are waking the hell up. En masse, man. If you think this is just some rogue person on a channel, you're nuts, man. This is happening across the board, and every day it increases. Trust me. And if you don't trust me, go find out your own self that it's true. And this is just going to continue, and guess what? All of a sudden it's going to be a 5D reality. And everybody that didn't wake up is suddenly going to wake up and be like, oh my God, what has happened? And they'll need to catch